The fist bump heard round the world. The issue is Saudi Arabia, and the question is, what did the U.S. truly gain from President Biden's recent trip to Saudi Arabia?
Welcome to Political Playlist.
All right, are we ready, guys?
Happy Hour.
Happy hour.
We fucked that up so bad.
Welcome to Political Playlist Happy Hour. I'm Michael Kristoff.
I'm Anna Muskie-Goldwyn.
And I'm Anthony Barkat.
And today is a special day because we are having a heat wave. We are all in California, and appropriately, we're talking Middle East. What up, guys?
Wait, what?
I like that.
We're in California, desert climate.
California and the Middle East don't have that much in common, I guess, other than
Palm trees, baby.
Sure.
Once again, reason for
palm trees are not native to Los Angeles, though.
I know they're native.
And did you know they're all going to die soon?
They aren't?
What?
Yeah, they were imported to LA.
What do you mean palm trees are going to die? That's crazy.
Because their lifespan is up and they were all planted at the exact same time.
Well, welcome to the resident Debbie Downer. Thank you, Anna.
Wow.
Perfect.
This whole time we thought Anthony was doom and gloom. We are diving into our part 2 of the Middle East series here, covering the president's second leg of his trip, which took him to Saudi Arabia, where he did not shake hands with Mohammed bin Salman. Rather, the two fist bumped like good old college bros. Biden obviously hit a home run with the Israeli leaders. That trip was incredibly well choreographed, incredibly well received, but for a few pro-Palestinian members of our group that we cover. But we don't want to dwell on the political optics here of the Saudi Arabia leg, but we want to dive into the substance of it. Now, I think it's safe to say, guys, that this trip has sort of been met with mixed reviews. Obviously, you've got people saying that he should never have gone in the first place. There are people saying he had to go, everything in between. What do we think is going on here? What do we think is the real purpose of this trip, and what have they purportedly gained from this?
Well, look, Biden's like literally in the definition of a rock and a hard place because
whoa, hold for dad joke.
Yeah. Just be a rock in a desert or something like that.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're saying like Iraq.
Oh no, it wasn't. But
oh wow,
I didn't even get that. Wow,
yeah, like Iraq. He's between a rock and a hard place.
You definitely know who the dumb one is here, which is
Jesus. I thought you were coming in hard with the dad joke.
No, I was just using the phrase.
Good thing he didn't run away.
Oh my God, please leave that in. Biden is right now the definition of between a rock and a hard place. There we go. Because he basically ran saying that he was going to label Saudi Arabia as a pariah state, saying that any countries around the world that don't share our values should not be our allies. But then there's been this mess where there's a bunch of autocratic governments, namely Russia and China, who have seen elevated status around the world, especially economically. And Saudi Arabia, which has a lot of oil exports, wants to court Russia and China as strategic partners. And the US, from a globalized sort of position of democracy, does not want that to happen. So Biden is essentially stuck between pushing for the values that he thinks we as America should be putting out on the world stage and protecting our interests economically, specifically when it comes to competition with Russia and China.
So Anthony, where does the sort of the criticism coming from? That's the pros.
Yeah, this is Anthony's job.
Yeah. The first step is admitting it, Anna. So I'm really glad you were able to do that. But so really this conversation revolves around energy independence, right? Okay. So, the US right now is looking to other nations like Saudi to help with energy dependence off of Russia. Because a lot of the European utilities are kind of looking at the US and other places to get off Russian gas. By the way, just a numbers thing, Europe gets 40% of their gas from Russia. If you can believe that. So
I believe the US is less than 10%, right? From Russia.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but imagine trying to, change over almost 50% of your gas within a short period of time. It's really not that possible. Also, we need to remember that Europe has many green policies as well. So they're coming to the US, and now there's a potential shortage of gas as well here in the US. And what people don't realize is gas contracts are made off of many years. They're usually 10 to 20 year contracts. You don't just do it every single year. So the fact that Biden is in Saudi Arabia, fist pumping a dictator who was accused.
Well, the U.S. found him to be responsible.
Yeah, according to the CIA, he was responsible. Right.
Yeah. Going over there to figure out to help with our energy independence is actually, I think, quite scary. So, from the young
we're talking Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto heir of the throne. A lot of people refer to him as MBS. So he is this brutal dictator who Biden and by extension the US are effectively having to do business with here.
Well, and I just wanted to add, I read something interesting that, and Anthony, excuse me, maybe you knew this already, but the reason that we're trying to go to Saudi Arabia revolving around this issue of oil is because when the US produces oil, because everything here is a for-profit company, there's no extra capacity that is produced. It's basically produced on a need basis. But Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the only countries in the world that have an excess capacity of oil. So they are literally the only places in the world that have quote unquote extra oil, although they also claim that their supply is running short.
Yeah, no, Anna, honestly, that's a great point that a lot of people don't know about. So I'm really glad you brought that up, but it also goes to why are we not having excess capacity here, right? And that goes into the whole climate change, green movement, which I think everyone agrees with here. But it's just,
but also that it's not state run. I think that's a big difference too. Like in Saudi Arabia, it's mostly state run oil refineries. Here, everything is a for-profit company. So there's no impetus for for-profit companies to basically produce more than the demand is demanding.
Yeah. Well, I have two issues. And like the first issue here is, and this is what a lot of our young politicians are saying as well, is he's going over there to help with our energy independence, yet they're going to be pumping more oil, gas. We have no control over how they do it. Now, they might tell us they're doing it in a clean manner, but can we really trust them? The US is the largest producer, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. So people are saying, why are we not doing it here? And at least we're in a democracy where we can regulate it.
Right, because out of our, as we're releasing oil from our strategic reserve, we're actually not using a lot of that to go to domestic use vis-a-vis bringing down gas prices, although gas prices have gone down, but we're actually using that to supplement European oil that they would have otherwise been purchasing from Russia. Quick question. Are you expecting somebody in that chair or behind you? Or great. Lammy made it.
Super sad.
No, but I think that the other point that is the more sort of economic element of it is pretty valid because, like I said, Saudi Arabia has been actively courting Russia and China and essentially learning how to thrive in the world without approval of the US government. Russia has just been approved to build a nuclear power plant in the Saudi Arabia region, as well as have sort of co-strengthened military operations between Russia and Saudi Arabia. And then also China is the largest importer of Saudi Arabian oil, and Saudi Arabian buys a shitload of Chinese arms in the form of drones and fighter aircraft.
So maybe that's a good entry to the tweets.
Yeah.
What are our politicians?
Let me take a sip of my wine.
Yeah. So I'm just going to preface.
I have to beat Michael.
I picked these strategically. Use those tiny, beautiful brains of yours.
Oh boy, I'm nervous already.
I know, me too.
Why is POTUS willing to travel to Saudi Arabia to beg for more oil production, but he refuses to visit any oil and gas production or refinery site in the US?
Ooh, okay. Republican.
Okay, so obviously a Republican.
Yeah.
I like that
calls him POTUS.
It feels like a very rational tweet. Like it doesn't seem to be laced with like exclamation
August
points.
Pfluger.
I feel like it has to be.
It is.
Okay, for anyone who doesn't regularly tune in, you have to know that the reason this is such a huge moment for all of us is because Anthony only guesses August Pfluger.
He is a Republican from Texas,
an oil producing state.
Oil producing state. So
He's he does, man.
He does make a very good, good point there.
What is also notable is the gas prices, or sort of, I shouldn't say gas prices, the barrel prices of oil is a global price. So it's not something that we necessarily have like jurisdiction over as the United States. And so what is happening is that if, like to August Pfluger's quote, that the thing that really would drive down prices is more refining in the United States. But I just will point out that a big reason that a lot of these oil contracts are not being renewed or plants are shutting down is because they started to lose profit. And then more importantly, a lot of them have started converting to biorefineries, biofuel refineries, because biofuel has a much higher margin. So there's a lot of elements in play. I think that like the Republican message is true, but it's quite simplified. It's not just like, oh, Biden doesn't want more oil production. It's actually because the free market in America works in the way that it does, that a lot of these oil refineries are making strategic decisions to not produce more oil.
This industry is making the most money it has ever done before because of how high prices are.
But also because of how little they're producing.
We should be pumping more, but be regulating them off of their methane emission and leaks. And there are tons of technologies out there that can do that. And that would make the US be one of the strongest and cleanest gas powers in the world. And you know what happens when the US does that? It sets the market for everyone else around the world.
Yeah. And Anthony, just, obviously, thank you for coming on. The name of your new book is remind us the title again.
Yeah. His title of his book is Pump, like the Real Housewives restaurant.
Yeah. It's the forward is by Lisa Vanderpump and Anna Muskie Goldwyn.
I love that collab.
Honestly, that's how I really feel about this whole situation is we can do as a democracy, and Biden has the perfect opportunity to do this as the Democrat in power. I would not see this from a Republican president at all.
You mean just more regulation?
Absolutely. Yeah, more regulation on that. And this is his chance to do it.
All of these issues are so incredibly complex. And, I agree. And I think a lot of people agree that MBS is a murderer or a murderer by proxy. But I think that when you talk about our country as a whole, is that what people are thinking about on a daily basis? No, they're thinking about the price at the gas pump, or they're thinking about inflation, or they're thinking about these economic issues. And so it's kind of this thing of like, how do you save democracy? Basically, is you make the strongest democracy in the world stronger. You have to sometimes be between a rock and a hard place.
I literally almost did a spit take.
I'm for making us stronger.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Look at the pretty glasses.